And just as Mayor Barbridge has said, I too want to congratulate you on the precision with which you executed your drills. It's just fascinating to watch. Every time I have the opportunity, I'm just amazed. I want to tell you how pleased all of your commanding officers are, and your parents, particularly, with the commitment and enthusiasm with which you undertake your drills. It's just amazing. Now, this is really for the benefit of the cadets, because there may be many among you who are not aware of certain things that have happened in this community in the past. I live in a house at 19 Woody Crest Drive in Guelph, Ontario, and I wasn't aware of its history until some years after I moved in. In any event, the beginning of last year, was the commencement of commemorations of it being the 100th anniversary of the Canadian Navy in 1910. And we had decided to commemorate that anniversary by installing two large stones on the front lawn of the home in which I live, and I'll tell you why in a second. We obtained the permission of the Canadian Navy to make some plaques for the front of the home. And the reason for that is that home is the childhood home of Admiral Sir Charles Kingsmill. And I don't know who among you know this, but Admiral Sir Charles Kingsmill was the first director of the Canadian Navy, and thereafter he became its first admiral. And who would have thought that a young lad growing up in a landlocked city like Guelph would become the first admiral of the Canadian Navy? And I'm certain as he played on the front lawn of the home on Woody Crest, he probably not in his wildest dreams, thought that he would one day become the admiral of the Canadian Navy. In any event, as the date approached that we were planning to celebrate, and many of you here, I think, even attended that celebration at my home last July, as that date approached, while I was still in Parliament, I came out of Parliament one day and I noticed these flags that were hanging on the flagpoles along Wellington Street in front of Parliament Hill. And the flag poles were like masts, not unlike this one. And I kind of looked up and I noticed this picture of this fellow on this flag, and for a minute it registered and then it didn't register, and after a second or so I thought, I know who that guy is. Lo and behold, it was a picture of the Admiral himself. So, like any good stores officer, I ran back to my office in Ottawa and asked my staff to try and commandeer one of these flags for me at whatever cost. And he did. And the National Capital Commission and the Navy allowed me to bring one of these flags home with me, and it hung on the front of my house through the commemoration, actually through the summer. Now, they had given it to me on the understanding that I would return it. And I said I would return it, provided that should you ever decide to release it again, that you would give it to me so that I could present it to Guelph, because I felt that outside of Ottawa, the most appropriate location for this flag was Guelph, and in fact, here. So, having said that, the Navy returned to me this flag, and with a note, which I'd like to read. And I wasn't planning to do this today, because as I said, I was going to have a mask made for it and present it to you at another time. But when I came in today, I looked around and thought, you don't need another flagpole on your ship. What you do, though, have is a wall upon which it can hang. And I'm hoping that you will proudly hang this flag. But I thought that I would open the flag first, and we could display it, and then we could, and then I'll read to you what the Navy has said. So if that can be open, maybe get some cadets too. Oh, there are two. There's two here. Now, perhaps you can hold it up so that others can see. And beside each other so that you can.
Face the audience. The audience.
There you go. And no, that ain't.
There you go.
So stand beside each other and you'll see how they come together. Now that's admiral. Now what most strikes me about this is that I grew up understanding one of our most illustrious sons was Colonel John McCrae, not realizing that, while not having the same profile as Colonel John McCrae, he nevertheless is another one of Guelph's most illustrious sons, Admiral Sir Charles Kingsmill. And the Navy wrote this: "These banners are presented to you by the Canadian Navy as a memento of the 100th anniversary of naval service to Canada. They reflect the naval centennial slogan of commemorate, celebrate, commit, in that they honor the past, celebrate the achievements of the Navy throughout the century, and commit to the future of the country by being ready, aye, ready." Thank you very much, and I hope that you hang this flag proudly on your wall.